I want to tell you a story. But how do I tell it? I've been trying to tell a story about Costa Rica for over 5 years now. Costa Rica is an amazing country. Sandy and I have been here many times. I've lost count how many times. But every time we come here, we've seen something far beyond the obvious beauty that you see in the landscape and the wildlife. We've seen something so rich and intense, we couldn't even come close to describing it or quite capture it on film. In the early days of coming here, we tried to capture the mystery on an iPhone. Even last year we came with a new Nikon camera. We came closer to capturing the mystery, but we still didn't reach into the depths of Costa Rica. After that trip, I came back more determined than ever to get the story right on our next expedition. So I bought 3 more cameras, high-range scopes, video-grade monitors, and spent over a year struggling to learn everything I could about the equipment. So this year we came armed with knowledge, and 3 out of 4 suitcases packed at the brim with camera equipment, and eyes wide open looking for the mystery and the story. Will we finally capture it this time? We found it. Sandy and I aren't from Costa Rica. We're from the United States of America. It's a dazzling place where marketing meets colorful technology. It's a place where we're intensely busy. Even when we're not working, we're doing. We're relentlessly building and adding on. Everywhere you look, there are more and more cranes. We're building with a vengeance, and no earth will be left behind. Armies of blood and sweat warriors work through the day and night, building cities tall and proud. All across the nation, we seem to have a thirst we can't quench for more and more progress. We've even taken our endless energy for building and progress into the stratosphere and beyond.
But we will also accelerate the pace of innovations as companies, from young startups to established leaders, compete to design and build and launch new means of carrying people and materials out of our atmosphere.
Truly we have and are still building amazing technological masterpieces that not long ago seemed like science fiction. Our ability to innovate and move into the future and see into the past is truly inspiring, but it also makes me feel exhausted and that we're running out of time. Everyone wants a piece of our attention, and they mostly get it. I don't know where this is all leading us, but I'm not sure it's a place better than where we've already been. So it was time to head back to Costa Rica, to the land where time stands still. Time standing still. That's what I think of when I'm in Costa Rica. A land that stays serene and balanced. What most developed countries must have been like before they got so built out. A place where wildlife is still wild. and alive. Where it seems there are more empty beaches than you'd ever have time to see. Where life starts each day with a sweep of a broom, a bike ride to work, where there's more people in the streets than cars, where taxis are available, but not too many people need one. A place where hillsides can feel lost in stillness and silence. Our story over the last few years started in scenes like these in the northwest side of the country in Guanacaste. We knew, though, that there had to be more, and this time we were prepared to go deep and far, to cross the country and see whether this mystery continued there as well, or got even better. So come walk with us now, and we'll take you with us. You'll see what our eyes saw and what our cameras captured. Some of what we saw simply took our breath away. Some of it made us wonder. Most of all, it made us wish for a Costa Rica that holds on to its culture, its values, and its soul. When we loaded up our SUV and prepared for our 5-hour drive to Costa Rica's Central Valley, we really didn't know what we'd find. Would the path ahead be different than where we'd been? Would the magic and the mystery continue? What we did find were open roads, very few vehicles, and some interesting talking trucks. An endless, vast, and peaceful terrain. Beautiful countryside everywhere you turned. We saw many small towns with simple stores, the ones that had mostly everything you could need, without all those massive neon signs we're so used to in the States. We did run into a few traffic jams, ones caused by 8 cow power. We also saw vehicles with only 1 horsepower, and a lot with 1 moto power, and several with 1 tractor power. And so many free furry friends were around. Animals all over the countryside, roaming free. So many, everywhere, still full of vigor and grandeur. I've never seen animals in such spirit, so full of life. We also saw so many exotic landscapes, ones that looked like they'd been there for 100,000 years. We thought we traveled way, way back in time to a place intensely bursting with life. It was definitely different than what we saw on the coast of Guanacaste. What the beaches of Guanacaste do with water, the land and mountains as you move inland do with trees and terrain. They are both heart-stopping, amazing to experience, and all with unbelievable soul. Truly, this country is blessed. It's a treasure and a true jewel. After several hours into our journey, we came across a place of timeless beauty in the province of Punta Arenas, an oasis called Villa Caletas. In the 1980s, Frenchman Dennis Roy visited Costa Rica and found a serene paradise, one he had only dreamed of as a young boy in France. He was so taken with the country that he built his paradise on a mountain covered by jungle, 1,150 feet above the beach below. A place where the sun heals the heart and the ocean breezes cool one's soul. Villa Caletas was a virtual impossible construction project driven by a man's childhood dream. 400 men worked side by side to build the 1.5-mile road up the mountainside and then the hotel itself. It was as if Roy was painting passionately with stone and love. At first, only 8 rooms were planned with a French-inspired restaurant. But creative inspiration drove Roy further, and it ultimately evolved into 52 rooms, an amphitheater, a spa, and a second restaurant. Although completed in 1992, it feels as if the hotel was built 1,000 years ago. This wasn't a development built in a rush or built to see how much money could be made. It was about creating a dream of serenity, one that melts into the nature around it and blends into the mountainsides it sits upon. Something we didn't expect to see in Costa Rica was the United States of America. American brands are starting to pour into the landscape like here in Jaco Beach. Immediately we started wondering if these large brands will cause small traditional Costa Rica businesses to go out of business. We also heard a US expat mention his mother likes to feel like an American every now and then, and so she heads to Escazú in the province of San Jose to its new Monster Mall. So we headed down the new modern 27 highway to see what feeling like an American was all about. And sure enough, more and more American companies were present in huge buildings with lots of American manufactured goods and services to sell. And the new monster-sized multi-level, multi-plaza mall has plenty of room to house many American and international brands. Lots of glitter, lights, and plenty of things to buy. But do any of us, Costa Rican or American, really need all this stuff? Is this what feeling like an American is? Neon and glitter junkies, and all about buying an endless supply of things we really don't need? It wasn't 1 hour in the mall, and we were already missing the small stores that had what you need, instead of everything big companies want us to buy. So we headed back out on the road to go back to Costa Rica, and we left America behind. Over the next few days, we took our cameras, found our guide Antonio, and we headed deep into the woods of Carrera National Park on a mysterious journey into the wilderness. It wasn't long before way up high in the trees we saw something magical and amazing. But we were too far away for standard lenses, so we pulled out our long-range scopes and video monitors. Slowly and carefully we moved into position to find not one, but 2 scarlet macaws. This rare footage was only possible due to our guide's intricate knowledge of the forest and blind luck. All around us we were enveloped with amazing wildlife. It was diverse and enchanting. These amazing red, yellow, and blue scarlet macaws are large birds. They're almost 3 feet in length, weighing in at about 2 pounds. They're usually only found on the Pacific side of Costa Rica, and they rarely fly on the Caribbean side. Macaws are the largest parrots in the Americas. Soon enough, we were way off the trail. We came across these black bats, eerie little critters that blend in so seamlessly with the trees we never would have seen them without the help of our guide. We also stumbled onto a ghost bat hanging way up high and upside down from a tree. These bats stay so still you'd swear they weren't real. Their piercing eyes and devilish stance made you want to keep checking none had landed on you. And this lizardy guy decided to block our path back out of the deep forest, but he eventually went along his way. Earlier we came across this rare sighting of a Jesus Christ lizard who got his name from being able to hop and run across water. Soon enough we were deep and far enough into the woods to find the elusive white-faced monkeys who we could never seem to get close to. They had evaded our cameras for years, but this time we struck gold. Fortunately, thanks to our long-range scopes, we were able to take this captivating footage of the monkeys spending their day way up high in the trees. The white-faced monkey can weigh as much as 9 pounds and be up to 18 inches tall. It feeds on insects and fruit. These monkeys probably ate not too long ago, and we're starting to get ready for midday naps. We captured this monkey almost dozing off until one of us accidentally dropped some equipment and woke him up. Not long after visiting Carrera National Park, we traveled to a small town called Atenas in Costa Rica's Central Valley. It's a town where every day starts the same way. It's a world we thought you'd only find in the distant past. A place we really didn't think could exist on Earth anymore, but it does. It's a place where Branham cows line up for breakfast at the same time every day. Completely at peace with the world around them, they just wait. And every day Papa does come, and he feeds them. But the food doesn't come from bags filled with processed food that just resembles food. The food these cows eat are from fresh cut stock, grown and cut this morning right on the farm. Atenas is a place that's surrounded by tradition and culture. It's a place where rich beliefs build a community. It's a place where the town square is a place where people walk together often, where friends meet and discuss the world. It's a place where folks love to get behind their teams, and everyone takes their time to get from one point to another, where it seems time lasts forever. It's a place where every Friday is Farmers Market Day. People come not just to buy food, but also to catch up with others they haven't seen in a while. It's a tradition that seems like it's been here forever, like so many other traditions in Costa Rica. Later in the day, we found our way to this amazing Atenas Catholic Church just across the street from the Central Park area. It's an amazingly beautiful and well cared for, timeless building surrounded by beautiful grounds and monuments. I was taken back how something this old could be so well cared for. It's clearly loved and adored by the people here. At 2 p.m. in the day, the church opens and its beauty and splendor can be adored by all. I've seen pictures of this church before online, but none ever really brought out its grandeur and beauty that we saw when we were there. It's so much more beautiful and serene than I ever imagined. But it wasn't the only place we traveled to where we saw the same beauty and timeless elegance. In Grecia, we saw another beautiful town park where people were just sitting, walking, and talking to each other. We didn't see a single phone in the park. We only saw good friends, couples, and people at peace. And right across the street again, another stunning home of worship. Again meticulously cared for and clearly cherished by all. People were coming in all throughout the time we were there, coming to talk with God, coming to find peace. Like the Atenas Church, this church had a glow and a feeling of deep warmth that enveloped you the second you walked in. The works of art in the building were positively striking, and each told their narratives about human struggle, joy, love, and the Almighty God. Poas volcano, one of the largest active volcanoes in the world. At almost a mile in diameter, it made us feel tiny and fragile when we were filming its massive size and presence. Poas is still active, but no lava has flowed from it since 1954. Even knowing that, we couldn't help thinking about what would it be like if a massive eruption happened now. Back in 1910, Poas threw out nearly 1 million tons of ash along with massive plumes of smoke and steam. At the crater's center is a murky sulfuric acid pool almost 1,000 feet below. It bubbles, it smokes, and acidic geysers pop up almost 1,000 feet towards the sky. At times you can smell the sulfur in the air, and at times it gets so acidic the entire area has to be closed off. Fortunately, that didn't happen during our filming, but every moment we were there, as we worked to position our cameras and change out lenses, we thought long and hard about whether we should be here. Can you dream anymore? You will if you walk through the trails of Poas National Park. You'll see through the eyes of a young child again and find yourself in a wispy fantasy land that will take you back in time to when everything was new and filled with wonder. Greeting you at the end of one of these trails is the stunning Bodas Lake. Its cold and silky water sits in a crater that is surrounded by a dense and multicolored green cloud forest. The lake is located 2,580 meters above sea level, and it only has a mean depth of about 2 meters. It's about 400 meters across, and the crater last erupted in 7500 BC. What remains is a true work of art. If you've ever had a feeling of time standing still, it will be in Poas Volcano Park and La Paz waterfall areas. Now is always here, and yesterday and tomorrow fade away like pages of a storybook. Remember the wonder? Can you imagine my surprise as I realized I'd never seen a natural large waterfall in person? The only ones I'd seen were ones that man had created. For 50 years, I somehow missed all of this. As you get closer and closer to each waterfall, you feel alive, rejuvenated, and enriched by their intense souls. I wanted to jump in and let the water run down my hands and never, ever come out. And truly, if joy could ever be described in pictures, I think those pictures would be taken here. The entire time we were in Costa Rica, we didn't turn on a television once. Instead, we woke up every day with the 5:30 a.m. sunrise and headed out to see what new and amazing shows we'd see on this nature channel. This television was striking and real, in unlimited resolution in full 360-degree surround sound. The producer and director was one of greater power than us, and clearly much more skilled. A ballet of animals, trees, terrain, and an orchestra of harmony, in balance and serene. Alive and real, timeless. We only made one short 2-minute call the entire time we were there. The rest of the time we just talked to people, in person, or didn't talk at all, for hours at a time. Nature did the talking, and we listened. We were so humbled by it all. What we found was life flowing back into our veins and a connection with the land and the environment. In this world, time does stand still. In this world, you can find the power of now. You can stop living in the future and stop living in the past. What we learned was what Costa Ricans already know. Being connected with your world means an in-person connection to each other, not a connection to a Wi-Fi or cell phone tower. And feeling alive will never be found withering away in corporate buildings, but instead in the experience of constantly touching nature every day. The architecture we saw was intense, but it wasn't architecture built by human hands, but instead by hands of grace that sculptured a world with amazing life so intense you can only stop and hold your breath. Worldwide, we keep trying to create better with advanced technology and endless building and development. But the architect who built this landscape and our natural environment, I think, knew better how to build far more stunning creations than we could ever do. The more we visit Costa Rica, the more we realize we have to live for now and love what nature has already given us. Any moment could be our last. Enjoy every single step.